Filming all by yourself can be quite the challenge when you have to do everything on your own. There are so many times I get frustrated because you want to get the shot just right and end up doing 5, 10, 20 takes to get it perfect. But if you want to be your own main character in your story and in the videos you create, your only option is to get yourself in front of the camera and not rely on other people for help. As you grow, there are also tools you can further invest in to make filming yourself easier. We're continuing to talk about how to practice cinematography all by yourself, and today I want to share with you some amazing equipment and tips that help me film myself easier and make the process faster. In the next video of this series, I want to break down my full process of practicing cinematography by myself, from my ideas and gathering inspiration to filming what I envision and making it look cinematic, as we call it. Now, some of the gear I'll get into is helpful whether you're working alone or with a crew, and depending on your budget, there are different options to choose from, so you don't have to break the bank to make it easier to film alone. We are all at different stages in this journey, so I want to make sure there are different alternatives I can share with you depending on how invested you want to be in filmmaking. Let's start with the absolute necessities for filming yourself that you cannot go without, and that is a camera and a tripod. First, the camera I shoot on is the Sony a7 IV. But the camera you use doesn't matter as much these days, as there are so many great high quality options to pick from. Even the newest iPhones have incredible video capabilities now, and I enjoy filming with it from time to time when I need a second camera. But if you're looking for a dedicated camera for filmmaking, or that is video focused and you're working by yourself, a camera with good autofocus helps, and a flip out screen should be a necessity too. Sometimes I switch to manual focus for creative decisions, but good autofocus makes my life much easier. As for the tripod, I'd recommend one with a weight capacity of 3 to 4 times that of your camera setup, the lens and body together. So if it weighs around 5 pounds total, get a tripod that can handle at least 15 pounds so you can keep building up your rig and know you'll be okay in the future. You don't want a lightweight tripod because if you're filming outside in windy conditions, it could easily fall over. Next up is the external monitor. This has made filming in general easier as the bigger screen is clearer and brighter to look at compared to the small LCD screen the camera comes with. I have a 5-inch monitor, but if you go for a 7-inch, that's even better. And being able to import LUTs into the monitor makes the editing process later easier because you know exactly how it's going to look when you bring your footage back to the computer. And now, this next piece of gear is making it easier than ever to practice cinematography, and there are 3 different versions you can pick from depending on your budget and what you already use. The first 2 options are the Axoon CineView HE and the CineView SE. These are wireless transmitters that you can connect to your monitor and camera to make your external monitor wireless. There is the CineView HE, the cheaper of the 2, which only has the HDMI input, and the one that I have, the CineView SE, which has both HDMI and SDI inputs if your setup requires it or you're like me and want to future-proof yourself. Typically, you would see a wireless transmitter being used on film sets or with bigger crews so the directors or clients can see where you're filming, or for first ACs that have to pull focus with a wireless follow focus system. You can hand your client a monitor with the receiver and give yourself space to work without them being on top of you while you're trying to get the shot. But for more of our use case as a solo filmmaker or creator, I can use the CineView to make it easier to position myself in the frame and make the slight adjustments I need to get it just right. Both the CineView HE and SE have incredible stability as they transmit the signal on 2.4 and 5 GHz on dual band frequencies, allowing for very low latency and transmitting the signal up to 1,200 feet away from your camera. The size of the transmitters are incredibly small and can also be connected to up to 4 different additional devices like your smartphone or tablet through their Axoon C app if more people want their own screens for viewing. Also, really quick, to make sure the transmitter works properly right out of the box, make sure in your camera settings you go down to external output and both your HDMI resolution and HDMI output setting are set to 1080p so the monitor displays correctly and you can play back on your camera. Now, maybe right now you don't have an external monitor or the prices of the HE or SE don't fit within your budget. There's also another alternative Axoon offers that is way cheaper and turns your phone into the monitor, and that's with the CineView Nano. Using the same Axoon C app from before, you turn your phone into a monitor and can go as far as 500 feet away from your camera with low latency. I definitely recommend getting this over using the Sony Creator app or the other camera apps that they provide for connecting to your camera. I've tried using them in the past, but they were always inconsistent and always losing connection. I think it's worth having one version of a wireless transmitter, whether it's the SE, HE, or the Nano, to make filming yourself that much easier. Now, it doesn't matter how much you invest in gear if you don't continuously learn and practice your craft. And before I share with you my tips on making it easier to film yourself all by yourself, if you're like me and look to improve your skills every day, whether it's cinematography or color grading, or are always open to learning something new, let me introduce you to the sponsor of today's video, Skillshare. Skillshare is the biggest online learning community for creatives with thousands of classes led by industry pros. With a wide range of topics from filmmaking, design, illustration, and even improving your lifestyle and productivity, Skillshare has the classes you need to start or improve upon your skills to take your career to the next level. So why not start today? When I first began my filmmaking career and my YouTube channel, I used Skillshare to boost my abilities and improve my work faster, but I didn't really know where to start. But now with Learning Paths, they've made it easier than ever to go from beginner to pro in no time. Learning Paths are classes that are handpicked to be taken in the order given, so they build on one another to strengthen what you learn so you get better faster. They are not only available for beginners, but also for those of you who are already more advanced. Now, if I was starting my career all over again and needed to learn how to edit, I would start with this learning path on DaVinci Resolve by Marcel, so I can use every page in DaVinci more efficiently, and even now I should go through this so I can learn more about the Fairlight and Fusion pages to improve my workflow. But right now, I want to work on my productivity, so I'm taking Ali's learning path and finding ways to improve my general workflow to get more work done and stress about it less. If you want to join me and this amazing community, the first 500 people to use my link down below will have a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. It's definitely worth trying out, and thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Now, whether you invest in a transmitter or not, here are some tips that can make composing your shots faster so you don't get frustrated as a solo creator and can get better at cinematography and filmmaking. Before creating a project, whether it's a YouTube video or a short film, I practice my shots beforehand, so when I'm going to film the final shot, I know how I should set up my camera, lighting, and anything else needed. When you're first trying to set up your shot, try to visualize what the frame will be around you before you enter it. Working solo, whether you have a transmitter or not, you still have to make a guesstimate of how to set up your composition. But don't just randomly put your camera on your tripod and walk into frame. Before attaching your camera to the tripod, hold your camera around where you think it needs to go and place and adjust your tripod to where you're holding it. Depending on the shot, it might be easier or harder to imagine where you belong in it, but think about how high or low, close or far the camera should be, the angles and the focal length you want, and shoot your first take. The better you estimate, the fewer adjustments you need to make to get the shot you want. With the CineView, you can view yourself before having to press record, so you don't have to take up space on your camera and do this process faster. From the monitor or your first recording, you can see if the camera placement needs to change a bit. And while you're doing this, don't forget about where your lighting is compared to where you are, as I talk about this more in my cinematic lighting video. Another tip I have is sometimes I like to take my lens cap, my backpack, or any object and place it where I think my feet should go, so when I have to check the recording and do it again, I can place myself in the exact same spot if I like it, or make the adjustments needed if I'm slightly off. Also, to make the process easier, you can also use an object like another stand or, in case my Grogu, and place it where you would go. Set your camera up, hit record, and take its place. These are the fundamentals of how I set up my shots no matter what I want to shoot. First, you go handheld and guess where the camera should go. Place the tripod as best as you can, test the shot with my monitor or recording, and make adjustments from there until I get the best shot. In the next video of this series, I will go further into how I find my ideas and inspiration and film them to make my cinematic short films or work on my cinematography skills. But until then, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, why not leave a like, drop a comment down below, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. I'll see you in the next one.